Did you know that in Venezuela, millions of people stand in line for hours just to buy basic necessities like bread, water, or medicine? Power outages, water shortages, and food scarcity are no longer temporary incidents. They have become a familiar part of daily life for the people there. However, while the majority of the population struggles to maintain a minimum standard of living, the world surrounding Nicolás Maduro and his inner circle of power reflects a completely opposite reality. Luxury cars, private jets, high-security villas, and a host of privileges remain a regular feature, almost entirely detached from the hardships unfolding outside. In today's video, I will take you on a journey to explore 15 of the most luxurious and expensive assets associated with the leader accused of drug-related activities, Nicolás Maduro. These are not unfounded rumors, but rather documented assets seized by international authorities, tracked by investigative organizations, and verified through court records. Number 1. Maduro's luxury private jet. While most citizens worry about electricity, water, food prices, and tomorrow's meals, Nicolás Maduro's government is accused of still using luxury Dassault Falcon private jets for both official and unofficial travel. These aren't commercial aircraft or ordinary transportation. They're designed exclusively for the ultra-wealthy, global executives and heads of state who operate in a world that's almost entirely isolated. The passenger cabin of these Falcons resembles a living room more than a vehicle. With 24 large windows flooding the cabin with natural light and seats that transform into beds, the cabin offers the privacy of a flying hotel suite. Private meeting tables, secluded resting areas, and soundproofing virtually eliminate any disturbances below. At tens of thousands of meters, power outages are no longer an issue. A shortage of healthcare is no longer a concern. Food crises can't reach the skies either. According to international allegations and investigative reports, the cost of purchasing and operating such a private jet can reach tens of millions of dollars, not including fuel, crew, routine maintenance, and a private hangar. The cost of a single hour of flight alone could be equivalent to the monthly income of hundreds of Venezuelan workers. While many are forced to walk, crowd onto dilapidated buses, or leave the country on perilous journeys, a select few travel the same distance in absolute peace and comfort. The difference lies not in the aircraft itself, but in its role. Falcons are not simply a means of transportation. They allow users to temporarily escape reality. As the country below continues to face a protracted crisis, the sky becomes a refuge from its consequences, and that option is not for everyone. Within Venezuela, there are two ways to leave. One side left their homeland to seek a chance at survival. The other side left to avoid directly facing the consequences that were unfolding. Number 2. Million-dollar yachts. If the sky is the escape, then the sea is the next refuge. After private flights, the luxury doesn't stop. It shifts to the waterways. For some, leaving is just the first step. What they really want is to leave quietly, discreetly, and always in a state of comfort. According to international allegations and investigations, Nicolás Maduro's inner circle is believed to be connected to luxury yachts and ships operating in the Caribbean. These are multi-million-dollar vessels, designed like floating villas, where every detail is intended to create a clear separation from the outside reality. Step inside, you almost enter another world. Imported wood furniture, air-conditioned cabins, separate living quarters, professional kitchens, and onboard entertainment areas. Seawater desalination systems produce pure drinking water and imported food reserves. They are self-sufficient, like a mobile oasis in the ocean. Here, the sea is no longer a source of life. The sea is merely a backdrop. While many Venezuelan communities wait for water tankers for their drinking water, on yachts, water is a given, flowing through hot tubs and showers as part of the amenities. According to popular estimates, the price of such a yacht can range from several million to tens of millions of dollars, not including ongoing operating costs. Fuel, private mooring fees, regular maintenance, and staff salaries make even a short trip at sea a staggering expense. A single weekend at sea can be equivalent to the annual income of hundreds of Venezuelan families. These vessels are often registered under the flags of countries like the Virgin Islands or Panama to conceal the true owners. The contrast becomes even more apparent when looking towards the shore. While yachts glide smoothly on the clear blue waters between the Caribbean islands, the Venezuelan coast faces dilapidated infrastructure, garbage, and many resorts operating at a reduced capacity. People still go to the sea, but they go to beaches lacking basic services, with difficult access and security risks. Yachts, therefore, serve as a metaphor for the current situation. While the whole country struggles to avoid sinking, some have prepared their own vessels. They can continue to gaze at the horizon without having to look down at what is happening below. Number 3. Luxurious cuisine in a food-stricken Venezuela. In a country where people grapple with every meal, food is no longer a matter of choice, but a matter of survival. Many Venezuelan families are accustomed to fixed rations, food boxes distributed in batches, enough to get them through the day rather than ensuring adequate nutrition. Meat, milk, and eggs have become luxuries. Animal protein is only available a few times a month, if conditions permit. In contrast to this reality, Nicolás Maduro's government is accused of maintaining a supply of high-end imported food for the leadership and their close associates. According to international reports and investigations, this is neither relief food nor domestic product. It is imported goods, from perfectly cut beef and high-quality frozen seafood to wine and processed foods that most Venezuelans only know through foreign television. Many of these items are said to come from Europe and North America, where prices are many times higher than the average income of Venezuelans. What is striking is not only the existence of these food items, but the almost absolute contrast. While the national distribution system is constantly disrupted, supermarkets are empty, and people have to queue for long periods just to buy a bag of cornmeal. The living quarters of the ruling class are said to never lack food. Electricity may be cut, but cold storage facilities remain operational. Water may be interrupted, but kitchens are always well stocked. According to allegations, the cost of a single high-end imported meal can be equivalent to the entire weekly food budget of a Venezuelan family. A single box of food for a small party is equivalent to the food budget of many households for an entire month. This disparity becomes particularly apparent when considered in the context of Venezuela's minimum wage, which is insufficient to meet basic nutritional needs. This luxury isn't ostentatious, it's absolutely stable. In a society where daily meals are uncertain, always knowing exactly what you'll eat for dinner has become a kind of privilege. While most people are accustomed to portion sizes, another group is accustomed to menus. What do you think of a society where crises seem to stop right at the door of the ruling class's dining room? Number 4. Luxury cars in a country without electricity or running water. In a place where many people still have to queue for bread and worry daily about whether their electricity and water will be cut off, luxury is no longer a vague concept. It takes a concrete form: luxury cars. While many families scrimp and save on minimum wage, Nicolás Maduro and his inner circle are accused of owning vehicles worth far beyond the imagination of most of society. Records from U.S. investigations reveal that a collection of luxury cars, such as Mercedes Maybachs and Range Rovers, were seized and hidden under the guise of a shell company. According to the investigation, a collection of luxury cars linked to the regime's money flow was seized, including models whose starting price exceeded the lifetime income of many Venezuelans. These were not vehicles for everyday transportation. They were equipped with high-end leather interiors, individual air conditioning systems, and security technologies that most people are only familiar with on screen. The striking thing isn't how many cars there are, but how they coexist amidst the crisis. While ordinary citizens wait hours for gas or repair their vehicles with recycled parts due to a shortage of spare parts, these cars are kept in air-conditioned garages, regularly maintained, and run as if the country were never in decline. A single fill-up for a luxury SUV can cost the equivalent of a Venezuelan family's food expenses for weeks, and even a small maintenance item can cost more than a skilled worker's entire year's income. These cars don't just sit idle. They move between heavily guarded areas, powerful residences, and private airports. Meanwhile, Venezuela's public transport operates with shortages of spare parts, fuel, and even hope that tomorrow will be better. Millions of Caracas residents cram onto modified trucks as public transportation, while the elite glide past on silent wheels. Dilapidated buses, crumbling roads, and owning a reliable vehicle have become a luxury dream. History repeats a familiar pattern. When luxury becomes completely detached from social life, it often appears as the final sign before the system collapses. Venezuela seems to be following that pattern. While a group of people ride behind bulletproof glass and in imported leather, the rest struggle to survive day by day. Do you think this is a warning or just another familiar cycle of power? Number 5. when luxury exists outside of social consciousness. At the deeper levels of power, luxury is no longer ostentatious. It's less showy, more discreet, and almost untouchable. According to descriptions from international investigations, Nicolás Maduro's inner circle is believed to maintain a system of ceremonial and symbolic assets, including special attire, ceremonial items, and objects only seen in tightly controlled spaces. These are not works for public display, nor are they national heritage. They exist outside the public eye, in places ordinary people have no opportunity to enter. These ceremonial outfits are more than just clothes. They are bespoke, made with imported materials, and linked to politically or spiritually significant occasions. While most people have to reuse and alter their old clothes for years, these outfits appear for only a few brief minutes in front of the camera, then are carefully stored away as a sign of status and distinction. Alongside these are ceremonial items and objects believed to protect power. They bear no labels, are not in museums, and do not belong to the collective memory of society. Their value lies not in their form or material, but in who can access them. In a place where many people share cramped living spaces and lack basic services, the existence of these private collections creates an invisible, yet very clear boundary. That boundary doesn't need a steel fence, because it's created by the right to enter, the right to touch, and the right to be considered belonging. What sets this class of luxury apart is not the price, but its exclusivity. Only a very small group is allowed to use, touch, and assign meaning to these items. While the general population queues for food, healthcare, and clean water, power is consolidated through discrete rituals and possessions that are never publicly displayed. Number 6. A luxurious oasis in a fallen nation. Beyond the isolated living spaces concealed by high walls and paperwork, luxury has gone a step further. This time, it's no longer within national borders, nor is it tied to the rhythm of daily life. It emerges as a perfect sanctuary where Venezuela's problems seem to be left behind. La Caracola, located in Cayo de la Caracola near Isla de Margarita, includes a private marina and golf course and is rumored to be Maduro's Mar-a-Lago. It's not a typical vacation home. It's more like a self-contained complex, so vast that navigating inside requires navigation. The infinity pool opens directly onto the Caribbean skyline. The bedrooms are so spacious that many Venezuelans might consider it beyond imagination. The private marina accommodates luxury yachts, and the scenery is straight out of a high-end travel advertisement. In publicly available investigative documents, La Caracola has been mentioned as a property linked to the political circles surrounding Nicolás Maduro. But what makes it such a powerful example is not just the connection, but how it operates as a separate world. La Caracola doesn't rely on the public grid. Electricity has its own backup. Water has its own supply. Security is private and maintained continuously, day and night. Venezuela can experience power outages lasting hours, even days. But here, the lights remain on. While many families have to resort to cooking with firewood due to gas supply disruptions, at La Caracola, all amenities run smoothly. This resort fully replicates five-star amenities, from a spa to private restaurants, while 80% of the population lacks basic electricity and water. Things that have collapsed in the public sphere are almost fully replicated in the private space, from electricity and water to a sense of security. The cost of maintaining this place is unimaginable. Service staff, security, gardeners, regular maintenance, property taxes, and operating expenses create a massive spending spree. Just maintaining a swimming pool could be equivalent to the annual income of an average Venezuelan. Each month of operation would be enough to fund a public school for an extended period. But La Caracola is more than just an expensive property. It's like a bubble, where crises stop right at the gate. There are the sounds of waves, the sea breeze, and generators always ready. A parallel dimension, where Venezuela is merely a distant concept. And it is precisely this absolute isolation that makes it the most unattainable form of luxury. Number 7. The world of closed houses separate from Venezuela. International investigative reports have revealed descriptions of upscale properties associated with Nicolás Maduro's lifestyle, even though they are not officially registered in his name. Outwardly, each property is registered under a different owner, but the way these locations are used resembles familiar places, where the same group of people gather, the same rhythm of life repeats, and the same security system is maintained consistently over time. These properties are typically not located in crowded areas. They are situated in secluded locations, far enough away to avoid attention, yet discreet enough to require no explanation. High gates, thick walls, multi-layered security, and separate electricity and water systems make them function like oases. While many Venezuelan neighborhoods live with prolonged power outages, timed water supply, and deteriorating infrastructure, these spaces maintain continuity. There, the lights remain on and the water flows. The focus isn't on the value of each house, but on how they coexisted with the crisis. While many families shared cramped, makeshift accommodations and lived in constant anxiety whenever it rained heavily or the power went out, these isolated communities were so quiet they were almost detached from the surrounding country. The luxurious penthouses in Miami, part of a $700 million collection seized by the U.S., were resort-style, complete with infinity pools and private gyms. There, the crisis was merely news on screen, not a part of daily life. Switzerland recently froze Maduro's assets, including European real estate, highlighting the global network of this luxury. Here, luxury doesn't need to be ostentatious. It doesn't need to be flaunted in front of cameras or tied to grand ceremonies. It exists in the form of distance. Distance from the streets, distance from the people, distance from the problems the rest of society faces every day. When power can retreat into untouchable spaces, the crucial question is no longer how much those spaces are worth. The question is how long they have lived in that private world and how alienated they have become from the outside world. Number 8. American mansions and a left-behind nation. Crossing international borders, the next class of luxury emerges in the United States. In exclusive areas like Miami Beach, Coral Gables, or Sunny Isles, these mansions stand out for their scale and exclusivity. They resemble modern palaces more than homes. Infinity pools overlooking the ocean, private movie theaters, daily maintained tropical gardens, private docks large enough for yachts. These homes aren't built for short vacations. They're a long-term escape. When home becomes unstable, simply leave. From Caracas to Miami is only a few hours' flight. For those in power, it's a familiar journey. For the rest, it's a different world. In some publicly available investigative documents, information has surfaced about real estate in the United States linked to the life of Nicolás Maduro. But the point of contention lies in the contrast these homes create. An $18 million Miami penthouse seized had its own spa and glass elevator, while Venezuelan hospitals lacked basic generators. The value of a mansion could equal the operating budget of a hospital or educational center for years. Meanwhile, beyond those fortified gates lies a country where many families lack access to clean water and basic medicine. The cost of maintaining these mansions is quiet but steady. Maintenance, security, taxes, service staff. Annual Florida property taxes on these properties exceed $500,000, equivalent to 5 years' salary for a Venezuelan teacher. All of this creates a stable rhythm of life, almost untouched by inflation or power outages. While the minimum wage in Venezuela isn't enough for a week of decent food, a month's expenses here can far exceed a worker's annual income. The gap between the two worlds isn't just money, it's a difference in the realities of life. One side gazes out at the ocean through transparent glass. The other side looks out at the street through a corrugated iron door. When power can choose refuge in another country, the question is no longer how luxurious that is. The question is whether they still live in the same reality as their own country. Number 9. A treasury full of money in a country starving for food. In international asset seizure operations, enormous hoards of cash and jewelry have been unearthed. Backpacks stuffed with foreign currency, diamond-encrusted watches, solid gold bracelets, items that don't need to be displayed, just hidden deep inside. The U.S. seized over $700 million worth of Maduro's assets, including $13.8 million in cash hidden in safes and bags at his Florida mansion. Some watches were valued at the equivalent of thousands of Venezuelan minimum wage. Some had never been worn. They remained in their protective plastic casings, hidden deep inside safes. Maduro's $40,000 Maradona edition Hublot Big Bang watch, listed in the seizure records, was never worn and was still in its original box, not used to tell time, not for showing off. It simply sat there as a silent block of value, a form of asset independent of electricity, food, or public utilities. The gold in these hoards, however, carries a different meaning. Much of it comes from mining areas in southern Venezuela, where forests have been devastated and local life has been severely disrupted. For years, gold served as a store of value as the economy spiraled out of control. The gleaming bars of metal were kept safe, while the environment and the communities around them were depleted. Contrasting these hoards with everyday life, the contrast is chilling. While 60% of Venezuelan children suffer from chronic malnutrition, millions of pounds worth of gold sit untouched in safes. While many families are cutting back on meals and struggling to buy necessities, malnutrition is so widespread that it significantly impacts the average weight of the entire society. These glittering treasures remain untouched in storage, virtually unaffected by the crisis, an image that sparked considerable controversy at the end of the last decade. Nicolás Maduro and his wife dined at the Nusret restaurant in Istanbul, enjoying a $1,000 steak amidst hyperinflation of 1.7 million% in the country. When a regime falls into instability, three things are often held onto in the end: cash, gold, and loyalty. Gold doesn't starve, cash doesn't need electricity, only people have to live day by day, and that's why the coffers remain full, even as the outside world dries up everything else. Number 10. When the military controls, even food. Beyond hidden vaults of money and assets, power isn't just about what can be locked away. It shifts to a different realm, where value lies in access. The Venezuelan military controls 300 state-owned enterprises, from the oil company PDVSA to food imports, generating billions of dollars in profits for its generals. In Venezuela, the role of senior military personnel is described as extending beyond security duties. Several positions directly linked to economic life are assigned to officers. Seaports, food warehouses, fuel distribution hubs. These are the de facto nodes of the supply chain. When seaports are under military control, the arrival, clearance, or detention of goods is no longer merely a technical process. When food warehouses are controlled by the military, the power of distribution becomes the power to decide who receives first and who has to wait. In a society of scarcity, priority itself has become a form of asset. Beyond management, some officers are described as being able to engage in business activities related to their areas of responsibility. No need for a nominal position, no need for public appearances, just being in the right place within the operational chain. The benefits don't come from salary. The benefits come from the ability to access resources where the rest are limited. This structure creates a very concrete link. Loyalty doesn't need slogans. This system helps Maduro maintain a loyal military through the Boliburguesia, a wealthy military elite derived from state-owned enterprises. It's held together by daily benefits. When power is tied to the ability to distribute resources, the stability of the system is also the security of those within it. While the general population lives with waiting and disruption, there are areas that operate more smoothly, less volatile. The elite receive imported food directly through the military channel, bypassing the long queues of civilians. The difference doesn't need to be boasted about. It lies in who has to queue and who doesn't, who is dependent on the allocation schedule and who is not on the waiting list. Number 11. Land used for raising people turned into luxury farms. Luxury doesn't stop at the coast or international cities. It returns inland. From sprawling farms on the outskirts of Caracas to Hacienda La Caracola, Maduro's elite maintain an aristocratic lifestyle on fertile farmland. Not the city, but the countryside, the very place that should feed the nation. In these remote areas, there are vast farms supposedly connected to the lives of the powerful class surrounding Nicolás Maduro. These aren't farms for food production. They're organized as training grounds for thoroughbred Andalusian and Paso Fino horses, each costing up to $100,000 imported from Europe. These horses aren't raised for plowing or labor. They're raised for status. Balanced feed is imported. Horseshoes are custom-made, private veterinarians, temperature-controlled stables. All of this creates a self-contained ecosystem. In many cases, the living conditions of these horses are more stable and comfortable than the daily lives of millions of Venezuelans. The contrast is stark when placed in context. Venezuela imports 70% of its food despite its vast agricultural land. Many families cannot afford to buy animal protein every week. Meanwhile, these farms stretch across fertile land, have their own racetracks, professional staff, and modern facilities. These pastures could feed entire communities. Yet, they are used for training horses for entertainment. Some of these lands did not begin as private farms. They were once public land, agricultural land, or common spaces. Over time, they were fenced off, reclassified, and separated from community life. As national food production declines, these spaces function as recreational parks for a select few. Outside, the fences are frequent power outages, timed water rationing, and dilapidated transportation. Inside, there were even hydraulic exercise machines for horses. Imported horse equipment cost more than the local healthcare budget, amidst a fertilizer shortage that was killing crops. Exercise equipment for animals, in a country where people had to scrimp and save on every meal. These farms were not just property, they were a boundary. Inside were imported grass, steady lights, and a protected tranquility. Outside were dry land, dark roads, and a perpetual struggle for survival. As if national wealth had been condensed behind closed gates, reserved only for those living in a parallel world. Number 12. A collection of luxury art in the dark. Accumulation isn't just about money, houses, or goods. It also extends into a less conspicuous space. Maduro's collection of art and antiquities, including modern Latin paintings and gold sculptures, is allegedly taken from Venezuela's National Museum. It's art, symbols, and spiritual practices. Here, value isn't in function, it's in ownership and distance. While much of society focuses on basic needs, another branch of spending runs parallel. Long trips, secret meetings, personal rituals, all taking place outside the public eye. These activities aren't aimed at solving economic problems or improving the general standard of living. They aim at the mental stability of the ruling class in an uncertain environment. At the same time, large-scale art collections are gradually forming. Paintings, sculptures, historical artifacts, and religious works are systematically assembled. U.S. confiscation records list millions of dollars worth of ancient Inca statues and Basquiat paintings hidden in Dominican villas. These weren't purchases made on impulse, but rather a catalog built up over time. Many items are described as having once belonged to churches, local museums, or public spaces where they were part of the shared memory. The problem isn't about owning the art, the problem is how the works are separated from society. They aren't widely displayed, they aren't in open cultural spaces, nor are they used in education. Instead, they are stored, preserved, and moved between secure storage facilities, often outside national borders, where climate and security are more tightly controlled. Meanwhile, many national museums are operating on a limited scale. They lack funding, they lack staff, they lack proper preservation conditions. The National Art Museum in Caracas has closed many exhibition rooms due to looting and damage from persistent blackouts. Some cultural spaces have to shrink or close down, causing shared memories to disappear from daily life. This contrast doesn't need a lengthy explanation. It's reflected in who the culture is preserved for and with whom it is shared. Number 13. Privileges not written in law. The differences aren't about money or possessions, they're about boundaries, and not everyone crosses those boundaries in the same way. In everyday life, the majority follow a set of rules, the same procedures, the same access limits. But for some at the top of power, those rules operate according to a different logic. Nicolás Maduro moves through spaces that the rest of society can't reach. There are routes that can be closed in minutes. There are areas that are sealed off before he even appears. Checkpoints, layers of security, and diplomatic protocol create a buffer zone. Within that buffer zone, the usual constraints are no longer the same as outside. The difference is most evident in access. Access to space, access to services, access to time. Ordinary citizens wait for hours at ports to clear aid shipments, while Maduro's convoy passes through without inspection. People have to wait, they have to explain, they have to show documents, they have to follow procedures. Meanwhile, some individuals barely need to stop, not because they're breaking the law, but because they navigate a different set of procedures. These administrative privileges don't need to be ostentatious. They manifest through smoothness, through uninterrupted operation, through the ability to access places others can't, through the avoidance of inconveniences that society considers normal. When everything is prepared, inconvenience disappears before it even arises. This space is not just a location, it's a state where individual responsibility isn't subjected to the same level of pressure as life outside, where legal, administrative, or social clashes are handled at a different level, at a different speed, and with different results. Venezuelan courts dismissed a lawsuit against Maduro with record speed, while ordinary citizens waited months for a preliminary hearing. Over time, this separation becomes a habit. One side becomes accustomed to constant adaptation, The other becomes accustomed to not needing to adapt. The gap doesn't need to be stated. It emerges whenever a road is blocked, an area is closed off, or a process is bypassed. There, power doesn't need grand gestures. It just needs to exist in spaces where conventional rules struggle to reach. The rest falls into place. Number 14. When relief becomes a tool of power. When looking at Maduro's assets, the focus isn't just on luxury cars or mansions. While total confiscated assets exceed $700 million, CLAP is the real gold mine, generating billions in commissions from 7 million boxes per month. CLAP is a subsidized food box program, seen as a lever for social control. Within this network, the right to receive food can be used as political pressure, and the alleged food import contracts become a major source of profit. According to investigative documents and international reports, many CLAP supply contracts involve businesses linked to the regime. Alex Saab is often cited as a key link in this intermediary chain, and he was previously prosecuted by the US in cases related to this network. The quality of goods in CLAP boxes is also a point of contention. Numerous investigative reports have described the products as poor quality, especially powdered milk, and lacking in expected nutritional value. But on paper, the shipments were allegedly priced far above market rates. CLAP powdered milk, containing 80% starch instead of protein, was sold at 10 times the market price, according to a Reuters report. The US described this as a fertile ground for cross-border money laundering and money transfers. Each box of food delivered to a poor family was both a form of relief and allegedly a link in the profit-generating network of cronies. However, real power lies not only in the accounts, it also lies in the decision-making process. Miraflores, the presidential palace, is seen as the operational center, where many national decisions are quickly made, lacking the independent oversight typically found in democracies. From heavily guarded areas, systems of price controls, foreign exchange allocation, and institutional adjustments are implemented. During Venezuela's period of operating multiple exchange rates, the difference between the official and parallel market rates created a huge advantage for those with access to foreign currency through state channels. While the majority of the population lived with power outages and water shortages, Miraflores was described as a stable oasis. Private jet fuel for Maduro's motorcade was prioritized from PDVSA, while citizens lined up for 10 hours to buy gasoline. Priority logistics, priority fuel, and government motorcades continued to operate even during periods of scarcity. Miraflores did not stand alone. It was backed by the military, a judicial system suspected of being politically influenced, media control, and access to oil revenues. The military controlled 15 economic ministries, creating a wealthy Boliburguesia with $20 billion in annual oil profits. Therefore, the greatest asset was sometimes not material. It was control over the system. And power can function as a separate ecosystem, detached from the daily lives of the majority. Number 15. When access to income substitutes arises. If you only look at the official records, everything seems quite neat. Maduro's official income is only about $20,000 per year from his presidential salary, according to publicly available Venezuelan records. A president, a publicly disclosed salary, no personal businesses, no brand names, and no publicly disclosed investment portfolio. On paper, the picture stops there. But when you look at how life operates around this figure, you'll see gaps that are hard to ignore. Nicolás Maduro is not known as a businessman or investor. There are no private corporations bearing his name, no regularly published personal income reports. The official income associated with the presidency is often described as clear, like many other heads of state. However, the standard of living maintained around him feels to be on a different scale. A stable operational structure is present. Multi-layered security is constantly in operation. International trips take place regularly. Private transportation, secluded residences, a dedicated service, and logistics team. These aren't one-time expenses. They're a continuous stream of costs, year after year. The striking thing is that this stability doesn't reflect general economic fluctuations. While society outside is constantly adapting to shortages, this lifestyle shows no clear signs of contraction. Even if inflation exceeds 200% in 2025, spending on Falcon jets and overseas villas remains unchanged. There are no noticeable disruptions, no apparent reductions. Everything runs as a pre-established system, The gap lies in the fact that the resources keeping that system running don't appear in public disclosures. There are no detailed explanations of personal income streams. There are no reports showing a direct link between official figures and observed spending levels. This discrepancy is self-evident. In many cases, power creates value itself, not cash or bank accounts, but access. Access to services, access to space, access to things that others pay for with money or waiting time. When costs no longer need to be paid in the conventional way, lifestyles can detach themselves from the numbers on paper. And it is in that silent distance that the question doesn't lie in a specific number. It lies in the difference between what is announced and what happens every day. So, in this list, what is the most unacceptable thing for you? Is it the misuse of private jets for criminals, the image of luxury yachts while many neighborhoods lack clean water, or the fact that an entire nation is treated as personal property to be exploited? Let us know which piece of evidence outrages you the most in the comments. Public discussion, even in the comments, is one of the few ways to prevent these stories from being silenced. When more people have access to factual information, it becomes harder to conceal wrongdoing through propaganda. If you found this video helpful, please share it with those who need to understand what is happening in Venezuela. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next exploratory videos. Thank you for watching until the end. See you in the next video.